Hang in
Dude,
there. It is.
that's Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
Welcome back to another episode of The Smylie Show. I'm Charlie Hume. He is Smylie Kaufman. And today we have a little bit of a unique episode. It's a two-parter. You're either watching this right now on our YouTube channel. Thank you for liking and subscribing, of course. Make sure you do that if you're not. And you're going to get 15 minutes of a conversation that Smylie had, a longer conversation that Smylie had with Brandel Chamblee. Brandel, of course, is a Golf Channel analyst, a former Tour Pro winner on tour. A lot of people know and love him from that Live From show on Golf Channel that's so fantastic at major events. But the first part of this episode is a conversation Smylie had with Brandel about a golf trip in Scotland. Brandel's over there preparing for the Open Championship, talking a little bit about that. And here is, I think, the best way to tee this up, Smylie, is we talked to our viewers, our audience, the last episode about the Dream Ireland Golf Getaway Sweepstakes by Shipsticks. And I'm back. I'm armed with better details. I can run through the full thing for you. We can get some reaction. All right. 3 lucky winners will receive an all-expenses-paid trip for 2 to the island of Ireland, where they'll play 6 world-class courses, including Royal Portrush, host of the 2025 Open Championship. We'll put the link to the sweepstakes in the podcast and the YouTube. Here are the dates: October 8th through 15th, 2025, this year. 3 grand prize winners, and you get a +1. You're going to play Royal Portrush, Portmarnock, Royal County Down, Castle Rock, Ballyliffin, and Port Stewart. And the deadline to enter, July 16th by midnight.
So you're telling me I have 8 days to convince Fran that just because we're having a baby on October 8th doesn't mean I can't make the other part of the trip?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could definitely look into an early or late C-section, maybe, or ask Fran to hold on as long as she can, because you're going to want to be over in Ireland that week. That's a pretty good lineup right there.
Oh my gosh. That's a heck of a deal. Go sign up, 8 days to do it. And send pictures of me, because I'll be changing diapers and wishing I was actually not. I can't say that. I can't say wishing I was there, but in spirit, I wish I was there. Living
vicariously through the viewers, the listeners of the show, as they hopefully win that sweepstakes by Shipsticks. So go check out that link. And that tees up the conversation you're having with Brandel here, Smylie. Give us a little tease here, like, of this Scotland course section. I know we talked about my Scotland trip that last summer and then yours at Ireland. What was the course that intrigued you the most you want to kind of tease for the audience to pay attention to?
It's Machrihanish, I think is how it's pronounced.
Wow.
And we talked a lot about that. And that was one of the places he had just gotten back from. So he tells a lot of stories about this golf course and just the history of this place. That was really fun to learn about a course that I had to Google before him and I got on. So that was fun to talk about. And then St. Andrews, of course, it's a fun conversation. So that was the 2 main courses that we talked about. Of course, you could go on and on and on, but about plenty others. But Turnberry was also another one that we talked about, because that's where he was staying. So great conversation. That first part, of course, was a great way to kind of lead in to, of course, it being Open Championship week next week.
Yeah, I mean, we will, on the back end of this conversation, this excerpt of the conversation, tell you a little bit more about what to expect on the show the next couple of days. But right now we're focusing on Scottish golf. I mean, look at me. I'm decked out. I'm all North Berwick,
I saw that.
out. You like that? Like a little synergy?
Yeah.
Do you see the Jake Knapp video?
No.
Just an all-timer golf aesthetic video of Jake teeing off at North Berwick with a rainbow in the backdrop and just the classic nap time tempo.
That.
I'm like, yeah, let me just make this my screensaver on my phone or something. It just was so soothing.
Every year, there's an account that always posts Jordan and JT doing their work at the Barrett screen at 16 at North Berwick. And every single time I watch the whole thing thinking that, one of these times they're going to include me in one of these clips, and every time I'm just a shadow in all these videos. I'm like, oh, I know I was there. Like, I remember all these things, and maybe it's my video. I don't know. Maybe I need to ask for royalties on this stuff.
The other thing is, did you see Iona Stevens up and down from the beach at Pitt in North Berwick?
Come on.
How good is that?
Incredible. Incredible.
Like really, really good. I don't know how she hit it over on the beach, but it was a heck of an up and down from there.
The beach is left, so I wouldn't understand that. But if it was right, I would understand.
Yeah, when you're playing out at North Berwick, a high yacht can find a beach there.
100%.
Just getting you all in the mood for a little Scottish golf talk. So we'll filibuster
before you get there. I've always noticed this about logos in Scotland or Ireland. They're way different. That makes sense. Yes. They're less simple.
They're like a coat of arms. Like, look at that.
Yeah, and maybe North Berwick's there just seem to be bigger logos than the ones that we have over here. It seems like much more simple over here, I would say, with logos, kind of whether it's a tree or whether it's this. It seems like the crest of the community almost is what these country club logos over there. I guess not country clubs, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the links courses that have been there forever. I think we suffer a little bit from the era of streamlined graphic design. You know, people taking old logos and needing to kind of clean up the lines and make them modern and make them, you know, brandable and sellable. Whereas, you know, as you can see on this hat, North Berwick was founded in 1832, and this probably was some local coat of arms was adapted to represent the West Links. Here's a good look at this little live example. So here's a newer Scottish course, King's Barnes, and that does look more American in style.
Yes,
simple
that is
crown.
very American in style.
So I think it depends on time when it's developed, and also like if you're North Berwick, you know, are you really gonna have a graphic designer come in and reformat this? Like it's a piece of history, it's a piece of time. You can't change something like this.
It feels like it almost represents the community too. It's so representative of that. Just when you see a logo like that, it's almost like their own crest.
Yeah, I mean, and look at us. I almost did it again, Smylie. I almost commandeered yet another podcast episode to talk about my love for North Berwick, which you and I both share. It's a great place.
It's incredible, incredible.
It's one of the best. Hope to go back. Maybe a little live show from that little bar downstairs where we did our one and done picks last year. That would be delightful. Yeah.
You did that, didn't you?
I did. Made the one and done picks there. That was when we were on a hot streak last year. I think that was around John Deere, rocket time. The getting was good back then.
We were definitely hot last year. This year we've been more on the haggis side when it comes to.
We're working on it. I think I'm going to make it to East Lake. So that's the biggest thing. That was the biggest key. Let's get you to more golf talk in Scotland. Brandel Chamblee, Smylie Kaufman. Enjoy about 12 to 15 minutes of this. We'll talk to you on the other side.
All right, guys, welcome back. We have another great guest here on the Smylie Show with Brandel Chamblee, colleague of mine at NBC Sports and Golf Channel. And Brandel, you're not in America. You are already over in Scotland. Of course, we got the Open Championship coming out. This episode will be released Open Championship week. So you're already got the vibes going for us, Brandel. So tell us what you're doing over there so early.
Well, this is about the 4th or 5th year that my wife and I have come over early for the Open. We can't wait for the Open, and it's 110 degrees where we live in Scottsdale. So we always come over here early and just play links golf. The temperature is 55, 60 degrees. We love it. And, this year we've played, we got to Edinburgh, hung there for a day or so. Then we went and played St. Andrews. Then we drove to Machrihanish, which I had never played, but had read about for years. Obviously, it was one of the golf courses that Tom Doak wrote so favorably about. So it sort of piqued my interest. So I drove down there and we played there, and we just literally got to Turnberry. So driving from St. Andrews to Machrihanish, don't you let anybody tell you the toughest drive in golf is the 18th at Carnoustie. It is not. It is the drive from anywhere to Machrihanish.
We're talking about in a motor vehicle, huh? How long did it take you?
So I don't know if you're a Beatles fan, but you know that song Long and Windy Road?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Long and Windy
Road is the road. That song is written about the road from, I don't know where the heck they started from, but down to Machrihanish. It's about 2 hours, and the speed limit is 60. And literally the speed limit should be 30 because it twists and turns and goes over hills and around corners. And through forest, and maybe one car could fit comfortably on the road, but it's meant for two-way traffic. Oof. And everybody's coming at you 60 miles
and you're driving
an hour.
On the other side of the road, and you're on the left side. So there's all these things you're just not used to. I actually drove maybe it was last year, the year before, from the Scottish Open at the Renaissance all the way to Liverpool. And it's maybe not quite as bad as what you're talking about, but there were moments where I'm like, this is it. I'm 10-2 gripping the steering wheel like I'm hitting a driver off the 18th tee at Sawgrass. It's just holding on tight.
I'm going to tell you, I've made the drive that you just described. That is the 18th tee at St. Andrews.
Okay.
Compared to what I just did.
Oh, man. All right.
It was the most nerve-wracking down there and back experience. Like my wife the whole way, because it's beautiful. It's unbelievable. There's waterfalls and there's locks and inlets and streams and forests and green-covered mountains. The whole way my wife's like, oh, my God, that's incredible. And I'm like, take a picture of it. I'll see it when we get there. And you don't dare take your eyes off the road. You just don't dare. So I'm quite happy to have made it safely to Turnberry, where we're playing tomorrow.
What'd you like about the course, though?
Machrihanish?
Yes.
So if you read, what Tom Doak, and, he's obviously one of the most foremost authorities on architecture. I mean, he goes on and on and on about the routing. I can't even imagine. It was designed by old Tom Morris in the mid-1870s. So I don't even know how he built this golf course on all these dunes. But the first hole is considered the best first hole in the world of golf. That's
what Jack Nicklaus said on the website. I was going to ask you about the first hole.
It's an incredible
what's cool about it?
Yeah, it's you have to cut across the ocean to get to the fairway, and the fairway sets at like, say, I don't know, 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. The fairway sits at a diagonal to you. So you got to carry the ocean and then shape it right to left to find the fairway. Otherwise, you end up in the hay.
Is the wind off the left, Brandel? Tell me the wind wasn't off the left.
The wind was off the left, hard.
Oh, God.
Hard off the left.
This is my nightmare. This is literally what's in my nightmares.
Yeah, so I'm on the first tee, and everybody wants to come out and take pictures. And, the lady from Machrihanish, she wants to do a picture for social media. And I'm over here for sort of, hits and giggles. But I'm on that tee and I'm like, God, I do not need all this attention. I don't need photographs. I don't need, levity here.
You're just trying to go. You just want to go.
I just don't want to hit a big flaming fade slice out to the right and have 3-wood back into the screen. And I haven't, there's no warm up, they don't do ranges over here. They just don't do them. They do a lot of things well over here, but they don't do ranges well. So it's your first shot of the day. So I had a rather weak fade that somehow ended up in the fairway. Thank goodness. Everybody thought it was a great shot, but if I'd have been at home by myself, I might have thrown my driver. But I found the fairway. I had 6-iron in, and I had this local caddy who just told me about every dangerous thing up by the green. It was kind of blind. But anyway, I sort of half whiffed a 6-iron up about 30 feet away and almost made birdie. So I was pretty happy with that. But anyway, it was blowing 30, 40 miles an hour. We got in last night. My wife was like, Scottish golf just beats you up. It's beautiful and it's fun. But the elements, because we played St. Andrews the day before and it blew 40. It blew 40 the day before. So we've had a marvelous time over here. Don't get me wrong. We'd love it. And we were going to play today when we got here, but the wind is blowing about 40 here and it's cold. And my wife was like, can we just have a day off from the elements?
Oh, gosh.
So anyway.
I feel that in my bones, too. I feel that.
Like, you would not have liked that first tee shot.
No, I would not have. I'm like just starting to get comfortable turning the ball over again. I had like a year where I literally couldn't hit anything other than the heel or close to the middle of the face, nothing even close to the toe. So if I did hit it right to left, it was an accident.
There's zero chance I was going to try to hit a draw off that tee. Like, hold it against the wind. I was like, I don't care. The wind was coming 40 off the left and it pushes you towards the ball. So you're automatically going to come over it and heat at it. And I was like, no, I don't care. Because I told my caddy the line I was going to take and he looked horrified at me. He was like, That's like a 260 carry. And, I'm like all puffed up because I've been working on my swing speed. I'm like,
Sure.
I got 260, no problem. But I looked at his face and I was like, oh, I guess I don't want to offend anybody here. I will take the 220 carry.
Hey, I like it. You're going to still work on the swing speed. You got to. And St. Andrews is interesting too, because you say you just played there, and of course, if you recall back to the Open Championship that last had it there, it was 20 under par, so winning that golf tournament with Cam Smith winning, and just interesting too, Brandel, because I know you're such a big fan of course architecture and just the overall strategy in the game. And if you don't have those 40-mile-an-hour winds, you don't have the firm fairways or some roughs, something to challenge the top players in the world, St. Andrews isn't the same test that it was in past, decades of playing out there.
No, it's not, and, I'm not going to disparage St. Andrews. It's the most historic and the most beautiful, and you feel like you're doing something extraordinary anytime you play there, and it's charming beyond compare. But if you just stumbled upon any golf course with the holes, let's say 1, 6, 9, 10, 12, I can't decide if it's the worst hole I've ever played in my life or it's one of the better holes I've ever played in my life. I just cannot decide. Okay? But nonetheless, if you stumbled upon 1, 6, 9, 10, 12, and 18 on any other golf course, you would go, what are these holes? They're 350 yards of grass. Now, there are some extraordinary holes in between those. But the charm of going out, I liken the first hole at St. Andrews to your mother just patting you on the butt as you're going off to school as a 7-year-old, And 18, your mom just wrapping her arms around you coming off the bus. They're just such sweet out and in holes. And, we had the local caddies that I've had this same caddy that caddied for me in the 95 Open. He caddied for me in the 2018 Senior Open there. He's caddied for me every single time I've gone to St. Andrews. So I had him, and he's an old friend and a great guy. And for the first time ever, I played with a Royal and Ancient member, a woman by the name of Elaine Radcliffe. And then, which by the way was a bizarre dynamic, and her ex-husband played in our group, and they're like best friends. They were married, got divorced, and now they're friends, like great friends. So we played with them, with the caddies, and had a blast. And then we got to go in and do the full lunch, drinks in the Royal and Ancient. So it was a spectacular day. The only bad part about it was I'd planned on leaving by like 2:30 to drive to Machrihanish. Well, we were having so much fun. We didn't even leave till almost 6.
Oh boy, that's a tough drive at night. Well, I guess it gets dark at 10:30, 11.
But still, it was such a long day. By the time I got into Machrihanish, I was whimpering for sure. I was on my last legs by the time I got there. So,
do you get worried at all about St. Andrews just being able to defend itself against the world's best players now with power? You just played in 40-mile-an-hour winds. It's not exactly what these players might face the next Open there, but
for sure. I mean, I'm 62. I started to say I'm 62. I turned 63 the day I was playing there. So, the day after I turned 63, and I drove it 3 feet from the front of the green at 18. And then 2-putted for birdie. And so, yes, I mean, the golf course, and Paul McGinley and I have this debate back and forth. I don't know where you fall on this, Smylie. To me, it's like the only way, if you really want to make a difference between what's going on in the world of professional golf and everywhere else, you'd have to bifurcate the rules. That's it. You'd have to, if you really wanted to rein the ball back, you'd have to rein it back 30, 40 yards. I don't believe that this rollback that's going to come about here in the next few years is going to make that big a difference, because guys are coming out of college now and they're swinging 130, 135 miles an hour. And so to protect these designs, you'd have to bifurcate the rules. You'd have to have one set of rules for equipment for the pros and the rest for the rest of us. And that's it. And that's such a difficult thing to do. It's very difficult subject to get your arms around and get through all the litigation and the pushback from everybody in the game.
Hope you enjoyed Smylie's, the excerpt of Smylie's conversation, I should say, with Brandel Chamblee on Scottish golf. And the rest of that conversation is going to air on Monday, along with our recap of the Scottish Open as Brandel and Smylie. I almost called you Scotty. That'd be pretty cool if we have Scotty on the show as well. We need to make that happen. But Brandel and Smylie, rather, are going to be previewing the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. Really, really cool conversation, among other things. Also, YouTube sharing stories of playing career and all sorts of good stuff there. So stay tuned for that. The rest of that episode will be on Monday. Now, this is functioning as both a tease if you're watching on YouTube or a bridge if you're listening on podcast to the next piece of content, which is a really cool video with Stephen Sweeney that we're really excited about, digging into analyzing the putting stroke and all the information that you can get in a high-end studio, what the pros use. And to do that, Smylie, we're going to tee it up. Stephen Sweeney, one of our favorite trust-based relationships. Our friends at Ahead build and manage digital platforms that power the most successful organizations in the world. Their consultative approach, unmatched engineering, and innovative solutions combine to accelerate the impact of technology in every client they serve. Ahead's longstanding relationships are built on outcomes and experience with both their clients and technology partners. You can learn more at ahead.com. That's a pretty appropriate tee up, Smylie. Technology. What was the toy in Steven's studio that to you was like, whoa?
Oh gosh, there's still some good lessons that I take away from seeing Stephen in an incredible studio. But I'm such a visual learner when it comes to many things, whether it's school or just being able to incorporate things on the golf course that I could see versus kind of the concept of having to do something like do this, and this. It's like, well, no, let's put a stick out there and try to just fade it around the stick. Well, when it comes to the putting, I thought the visuals that he was able to create with the technology of, okay, so show me how far out this is, like where would you play this, and now draw me where the golf balls would be to get into the hole, and then we're going to test to see what the line is, to see if you're over or under reading putts. That's something that I still kind of work on now, and that left to righters are something that I've kind of struggled with in my career, and just a good lesson on how to be a little better with left to right putts. And you can learn about it in the video, but I definitely use some tools that he kind of talks about on how to be better at left to right putts.
This episode, this next piece of this episode is much better consumed on YouTube. It's more visual. You can, of course, listen to it on the podcast if you'd like to, but go to our YouTube to watch that full thing. There is a moment in this video that is going to blow your mind as it relates to just Smylie's skill as a putter. I want you to comment. Either you're watching this tomorrow or Thursday on YouTube. Drop us a comment when you see that moment, or on the podcast, come over and check it out. It blew my mind. It blew Steven's mind. It's really, really cool to see a measuring of Smylie's putting in that way. So look forward to that. Hope you enjoy this video and this conversation with Stephen Sweeney at his putting studio down in Florida.
I listen to this podcast. It's really cool. And
all of our local fans and subscribers, but make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too, so please keep it up.
For all the good people at YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the